Thank you, Afshin, and everyone, welcome to our exciting event. Before we actually get to the GA release, let me share a few interesting insights from a recent survey. We've asked a company called ResearchScape to carry out a survey on our behalf. We wanted to understand what's preventing organizations and individuals from fully realizing the potential which is based in data-driven innovation. This one big kind of question was broken down to about 100 questions in 18 categories. The survey covered almost 1,100 respondents. It was a global survey. We asked people from various verticals, from all departments, from multiple countries. And as part of the survey, we also wanted to understand if, let's say, the executive management is in sync with the business users and business managers. Here is a high-level summary of the survey results. The most important finding probably is the fact that both executives and the business managers see data as the key to a business innovation. Second kind of interesting area of insights is that both groups of users also see that there is a lot of potential. In other words, there are quite big gaps in how they're working with data. And the areas of improvement they have ranked in the following categories. Basically, what is preventing them is data governance not being in place, poor data quality, data privacy regulations, data readiness, and in general sense, automation of data processes. It is interesting that most respondents were aware of these areas, so the awareness is really on a high level, but the actual maturity within organizations is pretty low. If I was to share a few data points from the survey, 70% of respondents believe that data quality is negatively impacting their business. 54% of respondents see privacy and similar data regulations limiting their ability to innovate. And 55%, similar number of respondents see that the data, as it's kind of stored in the systems and data lakes and elsewhere, is of a very little use without quite a heavy additional work, transformation, kind of data preparation. So from these three numbers, we can see there is a huge potential. One not so surprising and also not so positive finding. When it comes to sharing the data across organization, 74% of respondents still rely on a combination of email and Excel spreadsheets, sadly. And only 10% of respondents say that they use data catalog for this purpose. What we have seen in the survey results is exactly confirmed in our business, in our growth. When we compare the last quarter of 2019, which was the last quarter prior to the pandemics, and the last quarter of 2020, which was kind of the first, let's say, recovery quarter, we can see 64% growth in our revenues. What we can also confirm that most of our new customers see the need for data quality and data governance as tightly connected, which drives demand for our new data catalog module. Now, 90% of our customers are deploying the solution either in our platform as a service or in their customer clouds, either on AWS or Azure. In order to support this demand, this growth, we have at Atacama added hundreds of new colleagues between October of last year and February of 2021. Okay, let's now talk about Gen 2 GA release. After 5 months of beta testing with customers, we have released the Gen 2 for general availability a couple of weeks ago. The release has many new features, but if I was to name a few highlights, It is this. The GA release brings a completely redesigned, AI-driven, self-driving application layer. Hundreds of new features across all modules. Revised architecture for easier deployment, better performance and scalability, and reworked platform as a service running either on AWS or Azure. And all that with a single goal in mind, to provide organizations and individuals with extremely easy, fast, self-service means to obtain high-quality data or data product, which they can then use to generate business value. And of course, that includes all governance and compliance policies ensured automatically. Now, the Gen 2 is revolutionary for many reasons. One of them being that it brings completely new modern way to deliver high quality data. Something that we call Enterprise Data Quality Fabric. Gen 2 is the value added layer that connects to your data sources and delivers high quality data using various functionalities as needed. This is going to be a long list of functionalities, so please bear with me. From data discovery and profiling, automated data cataloging, the data catalog itself that also serves as a data marketplace, data classification and business glossary, relationship discovery, full-featured data quality management, which includes data quality monitoring, data standardization, cleansing and enrichment, data quality issue resolution workflow, and then let's say extended DQ in the form of enterprise class MDM hub, master data management hub, business-oriented reference data management, rich data integration and transformation capabilities. And lately, thanks to our acquisition of Tellstory, we are also including very modern and innovative ways of visualizing the data within the platform. So this is what the data quality fabrics can tap into when delivering the high quality data. Alongside the enterprise data quality fabric paradigm, Gen 2 brings many new features in the modules itself. I already talked about the brand new user interface, the brand new application layer, which has been redesigned with a self-service and actually the self-driving focus powered by artificial intelligence. We've also completely redesigned the data catalog module, which is now serving as a data marketplace. As part of the architecture redesign, we have also concentrated and added many new AI features into what we now call AI Core. From the AI Core, we are now powering the AI functionality across the whole platform. Let me list some of the AI features: business domain discovery, data classification, rule suggestion, relationship discovery, anomaly detection, AI-based matching in the MDM context, AI-based matching suggestions also in the MDM, and many, many more. On top of the AI-powered features, we have also redesigned our data lineage interface, where users can explore the lineage across their data landscape. And we have added very sophisticated data quality overlay on top of the lineage. In the data quality area, we have added the rule-less based data quality monitoring, which is based on the anomaly detection. And the rule-based data quality monitoring is redesigned with a focus on the self-driving, meaning that it is now much more leading the user when he or she is applying the data quality rules onto the data sources. And that's not all. The data quality is not only monitoring, obviously, and our data standardization, cleansing, and enrichment functionality has been integrated into the data marketplace. So basically, you can design your standardization on top of the data that you will find in the catalog. We have also done quite a lot of work in our MDM, and it is in various ways. On one side, we redesigned the data processing in MDM to better support scalable coexistent or multiple style implementations of master data management. Of course, the MDM itself is now two-way integrated with the data catalog. The RDM is also integrated with the data catalog. I already talked about the new visualization, which we have recently acquired. It is now being used on top of the metadata or the actual data, or let's say the results of the data quality monitoring. In all cases, you can use the built-in let's say graphical elements, or you can now use the tell story tool. And I think that is not so much visible, but it's very important. We have rebuilt, redesigned, redeveloped our data processing engine so that it now supports various ways where the data processing can be executed. And the processing means anything from profiling to monitoring, cleansing, or data mastering. It might be helpful to explain the new functionality and the enterprise data quality fabric on the few examples. So let's take a look at a, let's say, very easy example. We have a data scientist who has an idea for a great new marketing campaign, and she needs to combine several data sources, both external and the ones that the company already has in-house in better or worse shape. So using our platform, she would obviously first go to a data catalog to look for the data sources she is aware of, but she might also find other data sources that will be useful for her case, which she didn't know about. And thanks to the automated tagging, it's pretty easy, because in this example, she is interested in data sources which contain customer data and, let's say, product ownership data. Now, when she finds these sources, she can immediately see, let's say, the state of each individual source, both in terms of the data characteristics, but also in terms of data quality, because this is all automatically included when a data source is brought into the catalog. That's what we call automated data cataloging. So she can quickly kind of browse through, let's say, 10, 15 data sources. She can see what the data look like. She can see if the data sources have the right attributes that she needs. She might also use the relationship discovery features and find even other sources other than the ones that she found when looking for the business domain, customer, and product ownership. Let's say she now has a set of whatever, 5, 7 tables, which are all coming from data lake or in-house systems. But the idea is also based on her knowing or being able to obtain an external data source, which, for example, can contain some buying preference and demographics. In some granularity, it can be on an individual level, or it can be some segments. So she has this external data source. It's it's available somewhere on a website. She's able to download it or attach to it. So what does she do now? She goes through the automated cataloging with the external data source as well, meaning basically she connects to the data source. That's all she needs to do. And after a couple of minutes or maybe longer, depending on the size of the source, she gets the same information that she was able to see for the internal data sources. So she can see the data distribution. She can see if there are any anomalies. She can see some initial data quality characteristics of the data source. All very useful information for her case. The data cataloging can be run synchronously or asynchronously, so she can basically connect the source to catalog. She can go for a coffee, and when she gets back, it's done. Thanks to the new visualization capability, she can also visualize the external and internal data sources, let's say on a map or some kind of helpful visual representation of the data. So let's say the data scientist which has some, of course, data engineering, or she's of course good at working with data. She now has a set of 7 internal data sources and several tables which were included in the external data source. She understands how to connect the data, what is the quality of the data. So what she needs to do now, or what she can do now, is she goes to our data engineering IDE. She connects to the catalog, and through the catalog she actually can get access to the actual data, and she designs the integration between the data sources. In this case, it might be quite simple based on keys, some shared attributes. Once she designs this integration, she can actually do several things. She can, of course, run it, and she will get the resulting, let's say, data mart, data structure, with all the information that she needs. She can also schedule this, let's say, newly created data pipeline, so that it runs every day or in whatever frequency, whatever periodicity. And she can even expose this as an API for either her own use or for anyone else. And of course, part of this process is that the newly created data source is included in the catalog for anyone who comes later to use it for his or her purpose. So this was kind of very easy example how Gen2 will help the organization or this person to get high quality data, possibly in matter of hours rather than days or weeks, which would normally be spent on manually doing all this stuff. Let's move on to a little more complex example from completely different area. Let's take a look at a banking group, which consists of whatever 7 banking retail finance entities, and this group obviously is a subject to banking regulation, and lately the regulations not only require the bank to provide some regulatory reports, capital adequacy and whatnot, but it also requires the bank to prove that the data quality management process, when putting together this report, is in place, and that it is mature. So the bank has 7 businesses. It can easily be hundreds of systems, and as is the case with large organizations, they typically already have a lot of data quality processing in place, but this processing is done in various departments, in various tools, but in general it can be thousands of rules. And what the regulator is asking is, whenever you provide, let's say, capital adequacy report, we also want to see how you were managing the data quality in each individual step of the processing of the calculation of the report, which is impossible to do when you have the data quality kind of decentralized across the 7 banks, hundreds of departments. So with Gen2, what the organization can do is this. First, of course, we need all this information, all this metadata in the catalog. Now, in most of organizations of this size, some kind of metadata store or multiple stores will already be in place with a lot of metadata in it. So we can import all the metadata from the existing metadata stores or case tools or external catalogs. There will be other systems where the metadata will not be available, so it will go through the automated cataloging, as we talked about it in the previous example. And even for the ones where we have the metadata, we will want to run the automated cataloging so that the system has all the metadata that it's kind of used to knowing. After this first step, which can be quite demanding, if you think of the numbers of systems and numbers of rules, still it's orders of magnitude easier and faster compared to doing it without a tool like the ones that we are talking about. Now let's say we are at a point where we have all the metadata in the catalog. We also have the rules represented somehow in the catalog. And now we want to put in place the actual execution of the rules. Let's say the data quality monitoring for this particular purpose. The rules typically have two parts. One is some, let's say, business description of the rule, and the other part is some way the rule is expressed in an executable form, a formula, let's say. So in some cases, we can automatically convert the formulas into the language that our engine understands. In some cases, someone will have to manually rewrite or write these formulas. Still with a lot of help from the system, because the system will suggest predefined rules that it understands. So let's say we now have the rules in the executable form, and what is now needed is for probably a team of data stewards to assign those rules onto the business domains, the actual attributes grouped by business domains, or critical data elements, as it's called in the banking environment. This is also helped by the platform. The platform will automatically map the rules onto the business tags, business domains, and onto the actual attributes. Still, you would want the data stewards to at least check it or manually adjust it. Now, when all this is done, the only thing that's left is actually to schedule the execution, and the organization gets the data quality results, including the data lineage, as the data is being processed in the various stages of the process. The data quality monitoring results can be, of course, looked at, analyzed within the platform. In this case, it will also probably be exported in the form of some data report for the bank, or even some specific format that the regulatory body requires. So compared to the very kind of innovative, let's say disruptive example with the data scientist, this is really heavy-duty regulatory case for a large organization. Still, the common goal is the same, and it is the high-quality data. And I have one more example. And now, when we know how at least the initial stages of the process work, we can fast forward through these. And the example can be this. Let's have a retail organization, which again consists of several businesses. Up until now, kind of siloed businesses. You might have the actual consumer goods retail chain. You might have a bank. You might have auto repair shops. I don't know. Let's say 5-7 businesses. Quite large business. Each business has its own customer database, its own loyalty program. Of course, what you want to do now is you want to have one loyalty program across the whole group, and this can be also enabler to event-driven marketing, event-driven in terms of the customer life cycle journey. So an organization like this will probably have one or multiple customer masters in place. Typically, it will be, either homegrown or some previous generation of MDM Hub, and what you will need is a consolidation or customer master across the whole group. Typically, the existing solutions will not be sufficient for performance reasons, flexibility, scalability. So the big obstacle now for the business initiative is to have a customer 360 across the whole group. So with Atacama 1 Gen 2, what you would do is you would of course catalog all this data automatically. You would then have a team that would work with the catalog to identify the best data sources for the customer 360 in a very similar way to the previous examples. Now, once you have that, and once you understand what the data look like, what is the quality of the data, you will want to model your MDM hub. And Gen 2 can help you in several ways. On one hand, it will suggest the right attributes, the right tables. We are planning to also have automated model suggestion. We are not there yet, and it will also suggest the rules that you want to use for data quality as you are processing the data on the way to the MDM hub. So it is in this way the integration with catalog is assisting when building the MDM hub. Once you have modeled your hub, you have attached the data sources. You can, if you want it, or if the use case wasn't, let's say, heavily integrated, mission critical, you could actually populate the hub, and you can be up and running. In this case, the hub will have to be tightly integrated into the infrastructure. So what the team will want to do, it will want to review the APIs generated automatically again, to fine-tune it for their integration patterns, what the REST API should look like, etc. Again, we have an IDE for data engineers where you can do this, and it takes all the, let's say, easily generated, suggested APIs. You can open it, you can modify it, you can adjust it to your particular kind of technical needs. And once you have done that, then comes the let's say the pre-production and then production of such a mission critical system with the initial load and several test loads, and eventually you have a great group-wide master data management hub source of your customer and potentially product data, which can serve, of course, your new loyalty program. It can serve your event remarketing. It can serve many other purposes. So this was the most kind of complex example. Of course, if, for example, the data scientist was from the same organization, from the first example, whatever this loyalty team is working on will benefit from what the data scientist kind of put and updated in the catalog. I hope the three examples helped us explain the richness and the breadth of the platform and its capabilities. As we could see, obtaining or delivering high quality data can take many different functionalities and subdisciplines. And with Atacama 1 Gen 2, they are all available to you as part of one platform. Let me summarize what Atacama 1 Gen 2 is bringing to you, our customers. We believe that with Gen 2, organizations and individuals will be able to bring the data-driven innovation into a completely new level. Gen 2 is the enterprise data quality fabric, which is making high-quality data available to data engineers, data scientists, data stewards, value creators, and of course, machines and algorithms. And all that with governance and regulatory policies applied automatically. So this was our vision and a brief description of what Atacama 1 Gen 2 brings to the market. Thanks for your attention. And with that, I'll hand things back over to Afshin. Afshin, floor is yours.